don't ever make the mistake of thinking a problem is solved. Defeating any enemy is like plucking your eyebrows. For every hair you remove, 12 more will show up to the funeral. Commander Fiona Ayawade emailed to SIS regarding the withdrawal of US troops from Iraq. You'd think a threat this big would finally make us abandon old grudges and band together, but humanity always finds a way to hurt itself, doesn't it? Commander Fiona Ayawade, undated letter. That senators demand that we deploy rifle companies to patrol the suburbs for aliens is foolish for so many reasons, not the least of which is that they may not be sent home when this is over. Commander Fiona Ayawade, private correspondence. Information is our greatest weapon, bar none. If we know enough about what we're fighting and where, we can win wars before even a single shot has been fired. Commander Fiona Ayawade, data in the shadow of war. There's a them and there's an us. Always has been, as much as we kid ourselves that somehow we've become more enlightened over all these years of blood and suffering. Commander Fiona Ayawade, SIS correspondence. The damage from a bullet is not caused by the projectile itself. It is caused by the energy of the impact. Energy weapons just cut out the middleman. Commander Fiona Ayawade, technical weapons briefing. I brought you on board, Doctor, because I believe you're the only one who can pull this off. The good news is that, if I'm wrong, there'll be no one left to tell me about it. Commander Fiona Ayawade, engineering briefing. Tell me what we need to send more people further, faster. Otherwise, we'll be stuck playing defense forever, and that's just a slow way to lose. Commander Fiona Ayawade, technical briefing. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed. Yeah. We really don't need Yeats' defeatism right now. Commander Fiona Ayawade, private correspondence. Never forget that the true power in any kingdom is not the man on the throne, but instead those who quietly stand at his shoulders. Commander Fiona Ayawade, data in the shadow of war. You'll frown at my ignorance and romanticism, but look, if one good thing comes out of all this mess, it's getting to tell my kids that every spaceship has a tiny star at its heart. Commander Fiona Ayawade, private correspondence. In 1954, the Americans built the first nuclear-powered submarine and changed the course of naval warfare. Now, it is upon us to become the creators of the first nuclear-powered spaceship. It is upon us to define warfare in space. Commander Fiona Ayawade comments to media at Churchill shipyards. Mum's last years were a blur of doctors and treatments. By that point, every movement was painful. The one thing she loved was her aquatic therapy. Whenever I was home on leave, I'd take her to the pool for hours. Weightless, smiling, free. Commander Fiona Ayawade, junior psychological evaluation. Diplomacy has its place, but if you don't go into every situation prepared for the absolute worst-case scenario, you might as well turn up wearing nothing but a smile. Commander Fiona Ayawade, leaked training video. With all due respect, there are only two things that really matter here. Getting wherever we need to be fast, and not getting ourselves killed in the process. Commander Fiona Ayawade, technical briefing. Believe me, these bastards have already read everything humanity's ever written. If we don't come up with some way to talk without them listening in, we've got less chance of survival than a hummingbird in a hurricane. Commander Fiona Ayawade, secure correspondence with colleague. We can speculate about where these bloody things came from until the cows come home, but right now, all that matters is whether or not we've got something that can put a bullet square between whatever the hell they call eyes. Commander Fiona Ayawade, secure correspondence. Conflict in space doesn't have an exact analogue in terrestrial warfare, although our instructors keep trying to explain it like it does. Armoured warfare where the tanks are all sliding around on ice? A submarine engagement with nowhere to hide? Air combat where there's no gravity to overcome or air to bank against? Trying to come up with a universal metaphor will lead to wrong assumptions and broken ships. Teach the physics and the decision sets they imply. Our crews can handle it. Commander Fiona Ayawade to training officers. Together we're stronger. Apart we're weaker, yeah? Sounds great on paper, love, but the trouble is there's always some bloke with a loud voice who wants to keep us apart, and a whole lot of someone else's bankrolling him. Commander Fiona Ayawade, personal correspondence. The dreamer in me wants to believe it would bring a golden age of advancement and prosperity for all mankind. But I'm a realist. I know better. Any race advanced enough to find us would be advanced enough to end us, likely without even regarding us. Commander Fiona Ayawade, NATO Symposium on First Contact. When I was a kid, the threat of nuclear Armageddon was on every front page, every day. So forgive me if I get just a tiny bit anxious when you tell me that our best hope of sailing the stars is staging nuclear explosions inside our spacecraft. Commander Fiona Ayawade, Secure Correspondence.
What the doctor means is that he has convinced atoms to emulate a Spartan phalanx, just as those ancient warriors locked their shields together to protect one another. These atoms combine into unbreakable armor. Colonel Hans Castillo, touring a classified R&D facility in Tierra del Fuego. One grabs a weapon, another offers a hand to negotiate, a third falls prostrate, and the fourth runs. Only one of those chose the right, best response. What we're trying to understand is how to ensure we induce that response when the time comes. Colonel Hans Castillo, during a staff meeting with morale officers. How could one so young, coddled as you are by the modern world, begin to understand what war is? I did what had to be done. Closing your eyes and wishing the monster away only makes you an easier meal. Colonel Hans Castillo, during a war crimes trial. The ocean of history is littered with armadas sunken by the weight of their purported power. I'm not interested in a massive battle axe. I want a perfectly balanced knife. Colonel Hans Castillo, 5 moves ahead. This is not a war over resources or politics. This is a war to determine the future of humanity. It is imperative that we show them, show anyone, what it really means to fight us. Colonel Hans Castillo comments at the launch of the Indomida spacecraft. Maybe you've seen the films. Sadistic drill instructors demanding the impossible of poor, good-hearted men. You think it's inhumane. You think it won't be like that here. But by God it will, because even one weak link gets everyone killed. Colonel Hans Castillo, training video taken in Nicaragua. Sure, I've seen those shows too. All those starships politely doing whatever some distant admiral tells them to do. All those worlds quietly minding their own business. It's all a dream, boy. Nothing but a foolish dream. Colonel Hans Castillo, personal correspondence. We need men who know no fear. We need men who don't let wounds slow them down. We need men who don't need sleep. Most of all, we need men who don't ask questions. Colonel Hans Castillo, email to the Pentagon. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Soon, very soon, we will follow this road across the stars and face our final destiny." Colonel Hans Castillo, addressing his troops. It is not about who hits hardest. It is about who moves fastest, though even that will get you killed if you have not planned exactly what to do once you get there. Colonel Hans Castillo, interview with Dialogo magazine. Sir Francis Drake didn't defeat the Spanish Armada by building even bigger ships. He won by overwhelming them with smaller, lighter boats. It is as true today as it was in 1588. If your ship is too slow to turn, you're doomed. Colonel Hans Castillo, personal correspondence during the Salvadoran Civil War. You'd be better off surrendering than sitting around on your backsides waiting for supplies from home. If you don't know how to use what you find in the field, you've lost before you even begun. Colonel Hans Castillo, 5 moves ahead. Technically, he is more of a supervillain, but he's still my favorite. He's a survivor. He's uncompromising, and he does whatever he must to achieve what he believes in. Cool helmet, too. Colonel Hans Castillo, text message to his nephew. I'm not interested in baby steps. Our enemy isn't going to wait for us to catch up. What I want from you is the most devastating force you can possibly imagine, placed in the hands of our soldiers today. Colonel Hans Castillo, Weapons Facility Inspection. We laud the Romans for assimilating rather than exterminating other nations. But we should not forget that their siege weapons were terrible things to behold. History is littered with accounts of opponents simply surrendering as they watched Roman catapults approaching their walls. Colonel Hans Castillo, guest lecture to officer candidates. Do not seek to be the elephant. Become instead the mosquito which pierces its mighty hide, which laces its blood with disease, and which cannot be swatted away by its feeble tail. Colonel Hans Castillo, 5 moves ahead. If it isn't ours, it's somebody else's. And if it's somebody else's, sooner or later, they'll use it against us. That's why we have to take it, whether we need it or not. Colonel Hans Castillo, 5 moves ahead. Stop your hypocritical hand-wringing. You think only of the minor threat at the time I quashed it, and not of the insurmountable threat it would have become had I not. Colonel Hans Castillo, during a war crimes trial. The simple truth is that any spaceship is just a large metal balloon filled with air. Once pierced, it has lost all its wonder. Colonel Hans Castillo, Fundamentals of Orbital Warfare. The trick is not to look directly at what you are trying to see. Offset your focal point somewhere to the side of where you think you noticed the movement. At night, the center of your vision doesn't work as well as during the day. I won't try to explain the science to you. What matters is you'll see whatever is out there before they see you. Colonel Hans Castillo, advising conscripts in Colombia. It's not about who has the biggest gun. Sometimes it's not even about who's got the most guns. Often, it simply comes down to who can reload fastest. Colonel Hans Castillo, 5 moves ahead.
In each of us, embers glow. Through meditation, prayer, and togetherness, these dim sparks will blossom into the roaring flames they were meant to be. Superior Judith Howell, Burn Brighter, Self-Improvement Course. True innovation does not occur by forcing others to accept our opinions. It occurs when we combine multiple ideas to create something new, something better. Superior Judith Howell, Interview with the American Christian Television System. You are a shining star. You are a burning sun, and within you burns an eternal flame. When that flame touches another, nothing in this world can stand in its way. Superior Judith Howell, Burn Brighter, Self-Improvement Course. Each and every one of us here has at one time looked in the mirror and hated what we saw. But I tell you now, until you come to love the face that stares back at you, you cannot become something greater. Superior Judith Howell, Ticketed Livestream, The New You. Forget the trappings of wealth and power. Everything that makes life special is already within you. By your mere existence, you are beautiful, vital, and irreplaceable. Superior Judith Howell, Burn Brighter Self-Improvement Course. You contain multitudes. Every breath you take may contain atoms of Tutankhamun, or Christ, or Asimov. For any human to think of themselves as intrinsically apart from others is absurd. We are, all of us, made from each other. Superior Judith Howell, Infinite You, Self-Improvement Course. Science would tell us that we are nothing more than vibrating atoms. Everything in life is vibration, as Einstein put it. I put it to you that he was a duplicitous charlatan. Superior Judith Howell, Eternal Source Introductory Video. A life spent merely enduring is a life spent waiting for death. Allow yourself to become the flame that pushes back the darkness, the flame that others will flock around. Superior Judith Howell, Foreword to How to Lead, Small Steps, Big Changes. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Superior Judith Howell, Leading Sunday Schoolers. Few things clear your mind and focus your output as effectively as a sharp blast of cold. As a thank you for being part of our course, please enjoy a 25% discount on any of our in-home cryo chambers. Superior Judith Howell, welcome email to her Burn Brighter self-improvement course. Our technology is but a mirror of ourselves. When we reach for fusion, the power of the sun, we reach for the light that guides our path through the darkness. Superior Judith Howell, Seeing the Light Podcast. Never be afraid to burn, for it is only within that fiery crucible that our true selves are forged. Superior Judith Howell, Burn Brighter self-improvement course. Back on the farm, if something broke, they didn't have some fancy machine to fix it, and they couldn't wait for some repairman to stop by. So they did it all themselves, with their own weather-worn hands. Superior Judith Howell, Interview with 8 Chakra podcast. The world forever turns. That we cannot change. What we can do is ensure we turn towards each other, and never away. That we embrace all our tomorrows, united and unafraid. Superior Judith Howell, Unity, 8 Simple Rules for a Better Humanity. Believe and accept that there are other souls out there, created by the divine, as we ourselves were. It is our mission, our duty, and our privilege to join with them. A meeting of minds across the stars. Superior Judith Howell, Xenobaptist Leaflet. Sisters and brothers, I remind you the Lord said, "Shall the axe boast over him who hews with it, or the saw magnify itself against him who wields it?" It is our destiny, our right, to embrace the marvels He has seen fit to provide us. The enemy would have you believe this is playing God, but nay. We are taking dominion of our world and claiming our rightful place at His right hand. Superior Judith Howell, Xenobaptist Sermon. The cat is in the box. The cat is alive. The cat is dead. The cat is not in the box. All cats ever born are in the box. The box does not exist. The box is a cat. You are the cat. Superior Judith Howell, The Truth, delisted social media video. My family had this farm in Mississippi. You name it, they grew it. Corn, soybeans, cotton. There was so much to do, day and night. It wasn't the life I wanted, but it did teach me that you have to work hard if you want to nurture a living thing into the very best version of itself. Superior Judith Howell, interview with 8 Chakra podcast. Death is release. Death is a gateway. In death, you will become your true self. It is not death you should fear, my family, but only the pain that precedes it. And even that is a moment soon forgotten. Superior Judith Howell, Eternal Source Sermon.
With each passing day, humanity shatters the boundaries of the possible. It is our certain destiny to move mountains at the touch of a button. We need only the will to do so. And your generous investment, of course. Chairman Soren van Wyk, opening remarks during Western Armory's annual earnings call. Space is just like an endless cosmic oil field, waiting to be drained by whoever's smart enough and rich enough to get there first. Black gold is back, baby, back. Chairman Soren van Wyk, impromptu comments made to paparazzi outside a nightclub in Cape Town. Culture? Culture is nothing more than a qualitative marketing profile. Whether your line is boots, carbonated beverages, or civilian firearms, your job is to develop products that people will incorporate into their identities so deeply they can't see where their personality stops and our branding begins. Chairman Soren van Wyk remarks during conference call with senior product managers. You're kidding, right? I could set a puppy on fire on live TV, right? And it wouldn't change a bloody thing. That's how much they love me. Chairman Soren van Wyk, post-trial comments to the news media. Then they can clean or cook or restock supplies. If they're eating my food, sleeping in my beds, and using my latrines, they'll damn well have to work for it. Chairman Soren van Wyk during labor negotiations regarding diamond miners' families. He who controls the water controls the world. That's where we're headed now. But hell, even I know that a dying world isn't really one worth controlling. Chairman Soren van Wyk, Wall Street Journal op-ed. Renewables, from bogeyman to golden goose. Even the air in these is a product of labor and machines and energy, so I think setting up a subscription package would be in order. Chairman Soren van Wyk comments to Western Armory's board of directors. Of course there was an accident. Frankly, I'm surprised it took this long. Just get the recovery crew in there to salvage the gear ASAP. Worry about the bodies later. The delays are costing us. Chairman Soren van Wyk, internal memo. I don't care if there are 2 ways or 200 ways to filter deuterium from seawater. Just tell me which one's cheapest and which one won't get us sued again. Chairman Soren van Wyk, comment to Cape Chemicals Board of Directors. Sounds like you want to use a space heater to push a spaceship. That can't be terribly strong, so I hope it's bloody cheap. Chairman Soren van Wyk, comments to Cape Chemicals technology team. The final frontier proved a bit underwhelming, no? Veni vidi vici is great, but how do you say, I leased it at triple market rate in Latin? Chairman Soren van Wyk, comments to CNN. Every form I have to fill in, every arse I have to kiss, every pointless safety standard I have to meet is time I'll never get back. I say strangle these leeches with their own red tape and let the profits flow. Chairman Soren van Wyk, appearing on Fox News. Every time I have to pay a tariff, I feel as though one of my children has suddenly died. Why do we let them walk all over us like this? Chairman Soren van Wyk, appearing on CNN. Trillions of dollars just sitting up there, yet still the regulators drag their heels. Maybe it's time I treated the president to another golfing weekend. Chairman Soren van Wyk leaked private correspondence. Unless you too want to be showered in liquid lead, make damn sure the coolant circuit doesn't break again. Oh, and see to it that these statues of your predecessors are removed. Chairman Soren van Wyk meeting his new chief of engineering. Fake news, misinformation, it doesn't matter what they call it. The simple truth is that the powerful do it and the powerless cry about it. And that's why the powerless will never, ever become the powerful. Chairman Soren van Wyk leaked luncheon recording. You're jerking my chain, right? There's no way in hell that I'm spending millions on sending a rocket into space if we just let half of it sink to the bottom of the ocean. Chairman Soren van Wyk comments to SABC News. If these results are accurate, we're about to upend the entire medical system. Not a soul outside this room can hear about it until we're certain our patents are watertight. And once they are, the golden age begins. Gentlemen, we are about to profit from life itself. Chairman Soren van Wyk, Sangoma Pharmaceuticals quarterly board meeting minutes. If we're not willing to spend whatever it takes to make sure every one of those rocks has our name on it by this time next year, we might as well give up now. Chairman Soren van Wyk, DWKY Industries internal memo. Where I come from, we have Zef culture. It means you're poor, but you got style. If we want this thing to make money, we need to Zef this place up. If we put in enough windows, we can serve people cat food and have them sleep on shipping crates. The less we spend, the more we earn, hey? Chairman Soren van Wyk, recording submitted as evidence in the Pyrefest Solar Hotel lawsuit. Genghis Khan was a short-sighted fool. All that might, all those weapons, yet instead of leasing it to others and reaping the rewards, all he could think to do was shed endless blood and sweat in the pointless pursuit of an empire. Chairman Soren van Wyk, correspondence with subordinates.
One cannot simply squeeze a balloon into a tin can without one or the other bursting, which itself depends upon which you make stronger and which you make weaker. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, interview for A History of Space Travel, BBC Radio 4. Any species capable of contacting us would have overcome the petty divisions that plague humanity, allowing them to call out as one voice. We should therefore use all the means at our disposal to demonstrate that we too are a united and harmonious race. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, archival footage from the International Model UN debate. Were some distant eye ever to gaze upon our world, it would see warehouse workers denied bathroom breaks, factory laborers paid pennies to assemble $1,000 phones, children dying in mines. Would it not question why we had not found smarter, kinder solutions? Chancellor Li Jingzhao, interview with Wired magazine. Consider Mansa Musa, Mali's greatest emperor, and perhaps history's wealthiest man. His African kingdom spanned over 1 million square kilometers, yet he achieved this not through conquest, but by bringing about a golden age of knowledge, construction, and culture. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, addressing the UN Economic and Social Council. When faced with a large problem, we must think small. Look to the mongoose, fearlessly striking down the king cobra, or to the Eurasian stoat, killing prey nearly 10 times its mass. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, lecture at Tsinghua University. The reason that conflict stains human history is because something in our nature causes us to hate our neighbor. Yet we have learned to overcome that urge, that fear. We must remain conscious, however, that a galactic neighbor may initially behave as thoughtlessly we once did. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, preparing for first contact and beyond. It is a miracle of engineering and physics, yes, but romantically, standing next to a heavy hydrogen fusion reactor is the closest you'll ever get to a star. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, public lecture, Xi'an Jiaotong University. Colleagues, Mars and the near asteroids will be in reach without us having to ignite nuclear fires. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, speech to C9 League Summit. All of us here take water for granted each and every day, yet no matter how humanity might evolve over the centuries to come, one thing will never change. Everything we are and everything we do depends upon water. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, public lecture, Xi'an Jiaotong University. Our atoms do not truly touch one another. Like the clouds in the sky, they have no hard boundaries. All they can do is move close enough to influence each other. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, lecture at the University of Cambridge. It takes so very little for one tribe of humanity to look upon a second tribe as the other. Think of what will happen once hundreds of millions of kilometers lie between us. Chancellor Li Jingzhao, distributed humanity. From gigantic atom smashers to household television tubes, particle accelerators are versatile tools. Practically, I see no reason why they could not be weaponized. Ethically is perhaps another matter. Chancellor Li Qingzao, Testimony to the Central Military Commission. Enjoy your wealth and status while you can, my friends, because it is your certain destiny to eventually put yourself out of a job. Chancellor Li Qingzao, presenting an award for AI Outstanding Case Practice. We will never know if Lise Meitner and Otto Hahn even dreamed that their discovery of nuclear fission would one day be used to build spaceships. Let us hope, nevertheless, that we would have made them proud. Chancellor Li Qingzao, keynote speech at the Spaceport Summit. I am humbled to have been chosen for this once-in-a-lifetime experience. The things they can do up here are simply incredible. Their studies on the long-term effects of microgravity are fascinating, while the strides being made in combustion could revolutionize energy production back on Earth. Chancellor Li Qingzao comments while visiting the International Space Station. Every child adores playing with magnets, yet most adults pay them no heed. Foolish, really, for one day they will become the very bedrock of our society. Chancellor Li Qingzao, interview with Wired magazine. I was born with 2 club feet. For this reason, playground games were impossible for me. So instead, I read and read and read. Though they caused me daily pain, I treasure these warped feet of mine. They made me everything I am today. Chancellor Li Qingzao, public lecture, Xi'an Jiaotong University. The human brain can store the equivalent of 2.5 petabytes of information, or enough to record 3 million hours of TV. But what if we became able to watch those shows at 1,000 times the speed? Then our brains would seem like a mere floppy disk. Chancellor Li Qingzao, engineering humanity. Without an ozone layer to protect us from ultraviolet light, life on our planet would never have developed in the first place. Chancellor Li Qingzao, lecture at Tsinghua University.
Just imagine, Ifechi, how this world would change if we could mass manufacture building materials in an instant. Homes built for mere pennies, irrigation for every village, a brighter, fairer future for all. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, private correspondence. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, no matter how many appear to listen to us, mutual obliteration remains humanity's only endgame. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, letter of resignation to the United Nations. Choose a card, now blow on it, perfect. Then tap my hand 3 times, wonderful, and just like that, the card floats away. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, home video of his daughter's 3rd birthday. $1. That's what Paul Tibbet's mother paid for him to look inside an airplane at a local fair. Decades later, he flew the plane that killed 70,000 in Hiroshima. He named it Enola Gay after his mother, all because of that $1. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, blood money. All the old boundaries, the stratified lines of power, have been exposed as a fragile fiction by the aliens. Rights and authorities are awash, but we cannot forget that a person's daily struggles are only compounding. In this dangerous time, they still need food, medical care, and assurance that their labors will be meaningfully rewarded. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, addressing the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. If some ancient race of brilliant, gentle snake men suddenly crawled from the desert, they would have no rights, no protections. Any idiot with a rifle could turn a miracle into a pair of boots. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee on BBC Newsnight. We destroy everything we touch, yet we cannot stop ourselves from touching more. We are so lost, Ifechi, so very lost. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, private correspondence. Our technology could be used to end hunger, poverty, and disease. Yet, rather than raising up our entire species, it is widening the chasm between those with access and those without. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, speech to the United Nations. Some say swords to plowshares is mere sentiment. But here we are, using our nuclear bombs to explore the far reaches of space rather than doom our own home. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee on CNN. If we are to contemplate founding human society on another world, it is imperative that we learn from our past mistakes. It is a chance to start afresh with fairness and equality, the very bedrock of how we live. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, speech at the International Peace Conference. Yes, it's true that this technology could be a godsend, but from Nobel to Oppenheimer, history teaches us that unchecked human instinct will cause even the most well-intended concept to go disastrously awry. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, speech to the United Nations. One would think that the master most despised is the one who stands over us, whip in hand. But no, it is the unseen and distant master, issuing his uncaring edicts from afar, whom we most yearn to overthrow. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee on CNN. Empathy is not a muscle. You either possess it or you do not. It is those who do not who most limit human potential. If only there was some way to make them care, truly care, then everything would change in an instant. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, keynote for undisclosed corporate seminar. Only when we can look our enemy in the eye can we understand why he is not so different from ourselves. Then, only then, can we hope for peace, I fetch ye. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, private correspondence. Our advances in science and technology can be the key to the gates of heaven, but also to the gates of hell. We must choose wisely every time, or we may never choose again. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, speech at the United Nations. There is nothing we humans will not turn into a weapon if we can. Each fresh discovery we make only speeds us closer to destruction. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, blood money. Home is wherever you lay your head, it is said. If only this were true. Home, as far too many of us know, is only where no one is trying to destroy all that you hold dear. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee to the BBC. I am impressed. That does not happen often. But tell me, what new weapons does this allow for, and when will they be ready? Anything else is of little consequence. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, memo to technical staff. Now as then, territorial disputes boil down to one group of people gazing upon a new land and calculating who would need to die so they could own it. Thousands of years of purported civilization have done so little to curtail our most basic reptilian impulses. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, speech at the United Nations. Every time we build walls instead of bridges, we move further away from peaceful coexistence. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, speech at the United Nations. The less we burn, the longer we will survive. And the less we depend upon burning our natural resources, the fewer territorial conflicts we will suffer. It is forever bewildering to me how few of us can accept this simple concept. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, lecture at Beyond Fossil Fuels Conference. Forgive me, I fetch ye. I can happily talk to anyone for hours about how to improve society. Yet, sometimes replying to a simple email feels like the hardest thing in the world. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, private correspondence.
Since humanity's earliest days, we have marveled at the mystery above our heads. With childlike wonder we strove to understand it, yet still its truths elude us. So now we must go forth into the mystery. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Letter to his father. Every conflict throughout history stemmed from man's anger, fear, greed, or jealousy. Yes, it is the fount of love and faith and art, but perhaps, just perhaps, we are wrong to place the human heart upon such a pedestal. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Op-ed in the Gulf News. We squat upon a dying world, sucking it dry long past the point when it can still sustain us, and yet an entire galaxy of possibility beckons. Why are we so short-sighted? When will we see that there is nothing left for us here? Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Social media post. Lightning was once feared as the anger of gods until we learned how to harness its might for ourselves. Some say fear is conquered by courage, but I say it is conquered by knowledge. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Philosophy of Science Lecture Series. The differences in our languages are irrelevant, for we all grow closer to those near us in times of distress, creating community where once there was none. Today I ask you to do just that, for humanity's future depends upon us all sharing one unifying vision. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Public remarks at the first Project Exodus facility. It is tempting to think of our expansion into the stars as simply the continued evolution of human knowledge. Yet the truth is that it will spawn new fields of science, entirely new schools of thought. It is not a mere step forward. It is to pull the rug from under everything we thought we knew. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Master's Thesis, Oxford University. The word atom stems from the ancient Greek atomon, which means uncuttable. And yet here we are, creating energy by splitting the atom, cutting the uncuttable. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Speech to the Space Society Conference. They'll all be so busy fighting down here that they won't even realize we've already built ourselves an empire up there. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Comments to investors ahead of the Emirates Mars mission. The light that fills our skies connects the past of distant worlds to our present. It is a time machine and an eternal reminder that Earth is neither the beginning nor the end of existence. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Speech at Oxford University. One would not send a swordsman to fight a tank. Neither should we voyage into the unknown armed with only the primitive tools of self-defense we cling to here on Earth. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Investment pitch deck for Future Space LLC. It is only a matter of time before this rush for gold turns red. To staunch the flow of blood, other nations will send their own armed envoys. It is in our best interest to be gone before that happens. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Overheard private conversation. The online shopping guy and the electric car guy can squabble over Mars all they like, but that's just selling humanity short. Trust me, we can do so much better. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. During an appearance on late-night television. The Surat al-Baqarah teaches that in the creation of heaven and earth a wise people may find the signs of Allah. Let us heed those words and join together as we take our search into the stars. Director Khalid al-Ashgar, from his khutbah at the first conclave of Muslim astrophysicists. We've all gaped in awe at those images of the earth as seen from space. Beautiful, divine. But if you saw that same sight every time you looked out the window, wouldn't you grow to hate it? Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Guest appearance on the Thinking Bigger podcast. There are two types of people in this world, those who think only of home and those who think only of leaving home. Director Khalid al-Ashgar, archival online dating profile. It was Bertrand Russell who defined the distinction between knowledge by description and knowledge by acquaintance. Soon, so very soon, our understanding of distant worlds will not stem from mere readings and photographs, but instead from walking upon alien soil. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Project Exodus press briefing. Truly, I would love to believe that we will comport ourselves better on other worlds than we do here, but I am not naive. There will, I am afraid, be blood. Director Khalid al-Ashgar. Classified Project Exodus security briefing. What we're doing is dangerous. People are going to get sick or hurt. It would be madness to pretend otherwise. The best thing we can do is ensure our fail-safes are simple enough that even the least skilled among us can implement them under the worst of circumstances. Director Khalid Al-Ashgar, Project Exodus Medical Briefing. We cannot just send up a bunch of diggers and hope for the best. Even dirt doesn't behave the same way up there. One might as well build a house upon a pile of rice. Director Khalid Al-Ashgar, from his irregular newsletter, Preparing for Tomorrow. I don't want to die on some miserable poison world. I want to die countless light years from Earth with a smile on my face as I bask next to a perfect ocean under a perfect sky. Director Khalid Al-Ashgar, Preparing for Tomorrow online newsletter.